Welcome to the Big Fat Real Estate Checks podcast with Marco Kozlowski, where we help investors like you get the knowledge and skills you need to replace your JOB with passive cash flow for life.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another hopefully super duper exciting version of Big Fat Real Estate Checks. I am joined today with Gabriel Araish, Frank Galluccio, and of course myself, Marco Kozlowski, where we're going to tackle, nail down, do whatever we have to do to clarify different concepts throughout the ages of time to help you develop passive income strategies and apply passive income strategies for you to never have to work again, to have other people's money work for you instead of you having to work for money, building your wealth, building your family's wealth, giving you more time, more freedom, and just to enjoy life more, because we have one life as we know it, and we really should enjoy it as much as possible. So over the last, holy camoli, I've had, 40, 50, 60 episodes. I hope you have all enjoyed them tremendously. And we always get emails. And today we're going to discuss a few people that have sent us requests to work with them. Say, hey, we want to work with you. How do we do this? How do we, just work directly with you? And how do we just get our ass kicked directly with you? And I thought it would be an interesting topic because we have some phenomenal people that are reaching out to us who have no experience, that are just willing to learn, are a complete open slate, are extremely coachable, and we have others that are not at all. And we're going to discuss the difference between the two and some horror stories and the level of commitment that it does take to get into this business. It's great to listen to podcasts. It's great to listen to YouTube videos. It's great to belong to a whole bunch of Facebook groups or multimedia groups. But to tell you the truth, there's a lot of effort that has to be put into the learning part, of course, but also the application part. And you have to do both. You can't just do one or the other. It's great to learn, but if you don't learn and do anything, then you're not really going to go anywhere. And if you do a lot without really knowing what the hell you're doing, you're not going to go anywhere either. So today we're going to discuss kind of that process. And by far, I hope we don't end up sounding like complete assholes, because that's definitely not the intention here. We definitely have a giving heart. We want to help as many humans as possible. One of the reasons we created this podcast series and why we're so diligent at it. And I absolutely love recording these sessions. But the reality is not everyone has what it takes, or doesn't have the right attitude, or is their ego is involved. And we can talk about a lot of those things. So Gabriel, I don't know if you want to start, or Frank, whoever wants to pick up the ball, go ahead. And I'll definitely weave in some stories as well on my side.
I can. I mean, I've gotten a few of these requests, and so typically the way things go down is, people are listening to this podcast. Obviously, it's been going on for a little while now, and we appreciate the listener for this. We'll get emails or any way they can come out, whether it's on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and people are asking to work with us one-on-one, and we really love the podcast, which is great. We appreciate that. And we listen to your stories, and we're really enamored with the way you've gone from, having no knowledge to where you're at now. And that's great. But I think what people fail to realize at that point is what it took to get from point A to point Z. And so the requests are usually around, hey, we'd like to work with you. I have this much money. I have that much money. I want to be able to be helped, but I want to be able to help one-on-one. Either I've watched some videos and I know the fundamentals and whatnot. So really what it comes down to is I think it's coachable versus non-coachable is I think where I want to get to, because I want to make, I guess, a reference to sports. So if I decide that I'm going to play, soccer for the first time, and I go see, Lionel Messi, who's arguably one of the best players in the world, and I say, hey, I want you to teach me how to play soccer one-on-one. And so Lionel Messi is obviously very established as a soccer player, is great at what he does, obviously is one of the best in the world. And now I want to go and ask him to help me, and I still don't know, that I need cleats to play soccer. So his first reaction is going to be, well, go get cleats. And I'm like, well, no, I got running shoes. I'm ready to go. I've watched you do all these tricks on YouTube. So I just teach me how to do these bicycle kicks or these crazy goals. And we're like, okay, but you need cleats first, so go get cleats. and they're like, no, I'm good. You know what? I have these Adidas Shocker shoes. They're Lionel Messi brands, and I'm ready to go. Well, you need cleats. So you can see where this is going. Where that's the part where if the guy you want to teach you is asking you to go get cleats, and you're arguing with him at this point, which is the real fundamental, the base, the foundation of starting off, what makes you think that it's going to be easier for the coach at that point? Like, do you really think that Lionel Messi wants to continue to work with someone who won't follow simple direction? And that's sort of, and I don't want to mean this in a bad way, because, a lot of individuals grow up in a certain environment with a certain mindset. And the mindset is, and we've discussed this on many podcasts before, where mindset needs to be shifted before you can make a real change in your life. A lot of the times, the mindset that you currently have is why you are in the position that you currently are in. I know that was my case. I had to shift my mindset significantly before I can start making strides forward, even if they were small strides at first. But I had to learn to be coachable. And, I've played soccer in the past. I've played a lot of sports, and I've had multiple coaches and helping me, teaching me. And, sometimes I listened, sometimes I didn't. And, I'll let you guess when things went well. So, ultimately it's start by shifting your mindset of saying, am I willing to be coached? Because asking for coaching is one step, but that's the easy part. Accepting being coached is the bigger step. And that sometimes means that you're going to be asked to be doing things that are outside your comfort zone, that are things that you wouldn't have thought are possible to be asked to do. And sometimes it may just sound outright crazy, but that's why the person that you're asking to coach you is the person being asked, and not the person asking you to be coached. So I don't know if I can beat on this drum more, but it's you got to shift that mindset to be willing to accept coaching, because you can ask for, all the billions in the world, and if people are giving you the money and you just refuse to take it, then, what good is that?
Well, the skill set is really more important, and the attitude brings you the money. So, for example, you said this extremely well, Gabriel. I couldn't have said it better myself. An email comes in, what do I need to do? I absolutely love to coach you one-on-one. I don't know if your work ethic is going to match with mine, because I beat people pretty hard, as you both know. You've both been mentored by me. I'm pretty straight to the point, but if you want to work with me, no problem. The first step is at least attend the 3-day. Watch this video so it explains exactly what you're going to learn in the 3-day. And if this is something that you want to do, then attend the 3-day. And then from there, we can see if we want to work together based on your work ethic at the 3-day. And then, I want to go directly with you. I want to watch, I want cleats, right? I don't want cleats. I don't want the basics. I want to go directly to you. That's fine, but I won't work with you unless you at least attend the 3-day first, so I can see what your work ethic is. Well, you're not answering my question. How do I deal directly with you? I don't want to work with you until you attend the 3-day. And then this continues back and forth. And at one point, I just don't want to work with this person anymore. In fact, I don't even want you to attend the 3-day. I won't even respond to you anymore. And it frustrates me to see someone that is in their own way, right? And I've had an expression for a long time, which is get out of your own way. And if you just remove yourself from the equation, and if you really want to learn something, if I want to learn how to play soccer or football, as they say at the rest of the world, or I want to play hockey, or I want to play whatever it is, if I want to get the best possible coach, I'm going to say, Coach, what do I do? And whatever he or she says, that's exactly what I'm going to do without question, period. If they say, I want you to take a glass of water and dump it on the snow for 4 days, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm not going to question it. I'm not going to ask it. I'm not going to resist it. Yes, Yoda, I'm going to do whatever you say, because you're the best for a reason. You're training all these fantastic players. I want to be that. And they do whatever you say, and that's exactly what I'm going to do without question. So now, obviously, everything has a purpose and a reason, but you really do have to be coachable. And both of you were extremely coachable. When we first met, you came to originally a 3-day. You took the 3-day class, and then you guys had great energy, great work ethic. I could see that you wanted more and needed more. There was an offer to work with me directly. We worked it out, and 3, 4, 5, 6 years later, you quit your job, you have more money, passive income than you need, and now you're actually helping others do exactly the same thing. So it's come full circle. So you've been empowered with knowledge because you were coachable. You did what you had to be done. Some of you were a little bit slower than others, doing spreadsheets for 8 months, but that's okay. It's slow and steady wins the race. It's a marathon, and it's fine. And, you can do it. Yes, you can. Good job. Everyone has their own pace, all kidding aside, everyone has their own pace. And through that struggle, and actually through that time that it took, you also learn something. Even when you're failing, I'm going to say this in quotation marks, even if it took you 8 months, 9 months, a year, 18 months, 2 years, whatever time it took to get to whatever, what you deem as a positive result, that as long as you didn't give up, as long as you learn, and you're learning a lot during that process about yourself, about the business, about a whole bunch of things, it goes from being quite slow to not being stoppable. You're like a train, a moving train. I know, Gabriel, you want to add to that.
What I wanted to add is that it's not easy. There's a process to this of listening, follow direction, which again, following direction is not always easy, especially if you come with a lot of baggage. So obviously if you're, 19 getting started, you have a lot less baggage than someone who started like me around, I think I started around 30, 32 years old with you. So there's a lot of preconditioning that wasn't in, at least for me, I'll speak for myself in my background, but I understood that I paid you for a service. And if I don't at least try what you're telling me, then I'm failing myself. So it's not easy. And, is it a straight line? No, it's not a straight line to success. This is a steady line upwards to success with some humps and bumps. The only difference is the humps and bumps hurt a lot less when somebody's directing you. So figure that, for me, real estate was like me piloting a plane in fog, blindly. Whereas, when I hired Marco at the time, it was basically, he was like my radar, where I know I'm still flying blind to a certain extent because I don't know, I know where I want to go. I don't know how to get there because there's all this fog. And now I see this, blinking dot on my radar, which is Marco, just directing me to in the right direction. So it's not easy, but it is a process, and you have to have the right attitude and mindset to get into that, because it's going to get you to the right place. And yeah, time is going to change. I mean, I'm probably one of the slowest workers when it comes to the achievements that I made. It took me time to get into my first contract. I've seen people race to them and get your contracts after, 3 days of doing the business. And it took me, I think, maybe 3-4 months, which, when you look at it in my lifetime, 3-4 months is very short. But when you look at it, when you make an investment, yeah, 3-4 months could feel a little long. And I know a lot of people struggle with that time, but time is relative depending on how you look at it. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say, is that it's not an easy process. I still have the scars to show for it. Marco is very rough. He uses the whip sometimes, and it's that's okay, because those are the reminders for future possibilities.
Yeah, I think you guys are talking about me. The guy with the running shoes was me like 15 years ago. I was the guy with the running shoes.
You didn't even have shoes.
I go, let's go, Messi, man. Let's do the bicycles, man. I want to do that curve kick, right? You know what? I gotta level with you guys. That was me about 15 years ago. And I think, Marco, you mentioned in the beginning, it's the ego that's your enemy. At least that was my enemy. So I had other business coaches too. So Marco was just one of them on the real estate. I had a business coach prior to that. And I remember when I got the business coach, I was like, okay, I know about businesses. I have some businesses. And they were saying, start with this, almost what you said, Marco, with that other individual, just watch this video and then come to the 3-day. It was a simple 1-2 step, right? And I had the same coach that says, do this. I was like, okay, this seems like really, really insignificant. How am I moving forward with this? So I try to make it my own way out. That's my weakness, is I try to, someone tells me something and then I try to improve it without even knowing what I'm doing. It's like putting a plane together while you're flying it. Like you said, you're in the fog, Gabe. there's no way I could put it together without a manual. Even IKEA has a little stick guy, or not even the stick guy, the little bubble guy says, do this, you need a hammer, right? Really simple steps, but you go off track and says, no, I know the holes are here and this and that. And then you figure out once you built your IKEA thing that you screwed up in the beginning. So I had that problem, and I understand that people's egos, or maybe those that come with experience, and they're anxious to get to a deal, they're anxious to move forward, which is a great mindset, that you're anxious. That's your first step. And then your second step is, okay, I need help doing this. So that's when you get your mentor. But the third step is following exactly as the mentor or the coach tells you to. And there's a purpose to it. You may not know that purpose, but they know the building blocks. And that's where, even when I still had this curse on me, even when I, went to Marco, like he said, I was doing. So I was kind of doing what he's doing, but not doing what he's doing. I was kind of doing what he's doing. So yeah, I was a spreadsheet freak, and I was like, maybe I'll do this, maybe I'll take charge of it, but that's not what he told me to do. So I geared off because I go, I can do it better. But can I? No, I wasted, close to a year of my time. So I can understand people's egos going in the way, and I think being humble and just opening your mind on the mindsets. You know what? Let me put my faith into this person. Let me just do exactly as they tell me to, because they did it. They did it before. They're successful. I want to mirror. I want to copy. I want to be a copycatter. I want to copy what Marco did. I want to copy what my coaches do. I know in school they tell you don't copy, but you know what? Shit, in adulthood, yes, copy. Why not? All right. And help others. And so having that humbleness and doing exactly as you're told, you'll get there faster. And I think, Gabe, it was you in another episode that said, those that want to get faster, get somewhere quickly. I think you said, the guy goes into his car and he tells his chauffeur or his driver, says, hey, I'm in a hurry, drive slow. Yeah. And there's a reason for that. Drive slow because you don't want to be pulled over, because if you get pulled over, you're going to waste a lot of time. The guy's going to ticket you up, and you're going to miss wherever you got to be in. So drive slow and you'll get there on time.
I think that was Winston Churchill, but yes. I quoted him, but yes, I think it was him. And again, this is not to knock down anybody who's writing to us and want help. This is the first step that you've made is correct. I think the second step is you need to realize that if you're asking for help, then you have to be willing to be helped. And we want to open your eyes to this, or your ears in this case, where just think about that when you're writing these emails, whether it's to us or other coaches or anybody else. But any time you go into a process, it doesn't have to be real estate. I mean, most of you watch movies. I remember the newer version of the Karate Kid there with Will Smith's son, where that he asked to be taught to do karate, and then he goes to see him, and all he makes him do for I think 10, 15, 20 days in a row is a full hour of him removing his jacket and hanging it and then putting it back on. And the kid's getting frustrated. All he's doing is taking off his jacket and hanging it on, and he's thinking, this is punishment because he saw me throw my jacket on the floor, and my mom was upset because she wanted me to hang it on the hook. And that wasn't it. It was a process for him to learn, because the movement of removing your jacket is going to help you be nimble whenever you're dealing with an opponent. But that's a process that he had to trust, and he didn't understand why, and he was frustrated at the beginning, which is going to happen to all of you in coaching. It happened to me. It happened to Frank. It's frustration is part of the process, but you have to go through the process and trust it to be able to get to the result. So ultimately, if you watch that movie, you'll notice that he ends up becoming a much more or a stronger Karate Kid, because he trusted the process, even though it was frustrating and wanted to quit through the process. But there's a reason the process exists.
I watched the older Karate Kid, where it was the wax on, wax off. It was card detailing.
Same thing, right?
So it's same concept. But so he didn't understand it, and that's how some people feel. They don't understand. Like, why the fuck am I doing this? All right, but there's obviously a purpose, and that's the coach knows. There's a purpose behind it.
Married to process, divorced from results. And as soon as you understand process, you get results. And our processes are actually extremely different than most. Most that come say, hey, I've already bought property. I don't need this. I don't need this. I actually had this email yesterday from a gentleman out of the UK saying, hey, I know how to get properties. No problem. I know how to find those. I know how to find deals. And my first response is, do you really know how to find as many 30% off deals as possible? Because if you do, God bless you. Then you really maybe don't need us at all. because most people struggle finding a property that's 30% off of actual retail value. Just because you find a property online doesn't mean it's 30% off. And it's not that we're trying to find 30% off assets. We're actually trying to get to a 30% off. And if it's 20% off, we have a process on how to monetize that. If it's 25% off, we have a different process to monetize that. If it's under 30% off, we have a process to monetize that. And each one of these processes is a process within a process. And it's the art of taking as many leads as possible and monetizing all of them, not just passing. Most people, they make an offer, it doesn't get accepted, they go on to the next one. It doesn't get accepted, go on to the next one. No, we don't make an offer. We just keep going on that same property until they call the police. We don't stop working on that lead until they literally call the cops. And they don't, because there's a very elegant process to get someone to where they were to where we need them to be at one point. And they will always discount or get to what we call an impasse. If you haven't heard an impasse episode yet, go back and listen to the impasse episode, because we're never trying to get an offer accepted. We're trying to get to an impasse. So if your mindset is to get to a yes, then you're already not even following our process. If you aren't getting impasses, you're not doing it correctly. If you're not using our paperwork, you're not doing it correctly. If you're not buying with an upside, you're not buying it correctly. If you're using your own money, you're not doing it correctly. There's so many things that I do that most don't. And I say I, but I really mean we at this point, because you guys are really an integral part of the process now. And I appreciate you both for being there as a students that worked very hard, up to a TA program where you worked even harder, to where you are now, where you're helping me mentor and help these folks to a point now where we've built we're building a $50 million private equity fund together to be able to buy as many assets together as possible, because we've gone into business together, buying assets together, and you guys have an incredible work ethic, and there's no one else I would rather do business with on the planet than you two. So love you guys, you're
going to make us cry, man.
Hold on.
I'm just telling you how it is. I can't, we've gone through a lot of shit together, and that's the reality. And we've been in business with other people that have been really shitty partners, and not everyone does it like they should. What's best for the business, not what's best for Gabriel or best for Frank. It's what's best for the business. What's the best thing for the business? And it's very hard to find people that way, that are not all about me. Hey, I need this. Man. I want you to help me, and I want you to do it on my terms. Oh, and I'm broke, so you have to do, I'll work my ass off. You teach me everything you know, and you can get half of whatever I make. Well, how does that? I don't need more money. I'm good. I don't need me to invest a lot of time on someone that's probably not going to do anything. Because if I had that deal with 1,000 people, I would be investing a ton of my time. And if you're not committed, you're probably not going to get the result. Because when it gets really hard and you don't have anything invested in it, you're gonna quit. And it's only because you both had a lot on the line that you actually persevered. Because if it was just a couple bucks, you would have said, I'm out. But because it was a significant investment to work with me directly, you're not walking away from that at all. And so the more invested you are, the more committed you are.
And there's a process to this where working with you, even though we hired you, it wasn't to work with you directly all the time. There was a process of advancing to that level. So it's like wanting to learn complex algebra without knowing how to add first. So you have to learn to add, even though you've secured, if you will, your program of complex algebra. You can't start doing that until you've learned how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide, and you got to get there. So the beginning of getting to that end result is learning the fundamentals, learning the foundation, so that you can, when you get to the complex algebra, it's not confusing. You know what's going on, and at that level, which is the complex algebra of real estate, if you don't do things right and you mess up and you don't know what you're doing, that's gonna hurt. That's a lot of money at stake. Making a mistake on a $20,000 property is a lot less painful than making a mistake on a $2 million or $5 million or $10 million property. And not only painful from a financial perspective, but painful on who you're hurting. There's a lot of people at play here, including the sellers, which we want to help here. The whole idea of real estate is helping other people. And that includes the seller, not just us. So if you mess up or you don't know what you're doing in a creative deal, in a large real estate deal, you're going to hurt yourself, but you're also going to hurt a seller in there. And that's not what we want. This is why it's important to follow the process, which are small steps. You can't start doing, $10 million deals if you haven't been able to do a $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 deal first. It's just the way things work. You can't run before you learn how to walk. I don't know why people understand this. They don't start running before walking, but when it comes to more complex things, especially when it comes and revolves around money, everything needs to be fast forwarded. Well, it's the same concept. You're doing it in everything else you're doing. Nobody buys a $2 million mansion as their first property if they're coming from a, modest means. They'll buy a, maybe a condo first, or they'll rent an apartment first. They'll start saving up. They'll buy a condo. Then they'll eventually buy their dream house. Now, does it happen? Yeah. But most of the time you follow the steps. And now that it comes to coaching, whether it's in real estate or anything else, you want to race to the top. It just doesn't work that way, because if you race to the top, that's when it's gonna hurt the most, when you hit a wall.
There are skills to learn for sure. Frank, I know you wanted to add something to that.
No, I hate algebra, but even when I learned my
Can
timetables,
you spell algebra? Because
I couldn't spell algebra, and even when I learned my timetables, I still couldn't do even calculus. So that whole theory went out the window for me. I lost you on that.
Yet you're doing complex algebra in real estate.
Well, we're not. It's not that hard. I think that the hard part is not the math. I think that's to be straight with everyone. It's extremely the math is the easy part. It's really taking someone that wants full price and getting them down to almost, getting a significant discount, them holding paper, them holding a mortgage, and, taking deferred payments for a year or 2 years, like having that whole shift of they want as much as possible to what do they really need, and how do we get them that, and it works out to their favor that they're choosing to sell it for a lot less. And there's an art to that, and an art to that, an arch. A learning arc to really understand how to get there.
Trajectory, yes.
Yeah, thank you for that.
So yeah, just going back to what Gabe, what you were saying, some people that come into any mentorship, whether it's real estate or business or whatever, they want to be on the top of the mountain the next day. They want to be on top of Mount Everest and plant their flag there. But meanwhile, they haven't even gone through their equipment, or they haven't even got to base camp yet to learn with the obstacles that you're going to encounter. And you're going to encounter a lot of obstacles. If you guys have been following the podcast, there's a lot of obstacles to go around, but those obstacles are opportunities if you know how to handle them. So listen. For those of you out there, I get we're always in a race for time, and I get people get anxious, and when they make that commitment and invest in themselves and make that money, they want to get to the top of the mountain quickly. But sometimes getting to the top of the mountain quickly, you may be on fragile territory. You may be on a cliffside where the snow is going to fall over. So learning the basics from the bottom, because again, in the end, I remember Marco, even when I struggled for the first year. Initially, or 8 months, I at that point I didn't even ask for my money back. I wanted to learn how to fish. He says, I'm going to teach you how to fish. So he didn't give up on me. He goes, I want to teach you how to fish. I can give you a fish. And you did offer me a fish. I remember, Marco.
I did.
You offered me a property. You know what? Take one of my properties. I don't want to see you this way. I want you to. I go, I don't want your property. Although maybe I should have took it, but I don't want your.
I think I offered it to you for what?
That's the point.
80 grand. It's worth like 250 now.
It went up. It went up significantly. Yeah, maybe
I'm tripled in value.
I'm jealous here, man. I've never been offered a fish.
Well, because he saw my frustration there. Anyways, like you said, you put a lot of money into this, money that we didn't even have, or that we borrowed. But I didn't want that. And he goes, I want to teach you how to fish. So that's a different from someone, hey, here, I'll give it to you. No, because when Marco goes on, I want to be able to do this shit on my own. And that's what I paid, Marco for. And that's exactly what happened. So, I didn't want his property, and maybe, like I said, whatever, that's fine. So Marco, if you gave us that property, so you offered us a property, we struggled for 8 months out of the gates, cause we're kind of doing things on our own. And you said, hey man, you know what? You felt our pain, and you said, here, I'll give you the property if that makes any difference. And we said, no, we don't want that. We want to learn how to fish. And that's what you said specifically. Let me teach you how to fish so you can get abundance of these things. And honestly, thinking back now, if you did give us that property, which is, worth a lot more money than it was back then. If you did give us that property, it actually would have hurt us. So I thank you for not giving it to us. Thank you for offering it, but I thank you for not giving it to us, because if you gave it to us, we would have somehow been satisfied. We would have relieved our fire a little bit, that urge to get into a property. And I think in the long run, it would have actually hurt us or even prolonged us from fishing on our own. So I wanted to thank you for that, for the offer, but I also wanted to thank you that we didn't take your offer ultimately.
Well, you did the right thing by saying no, because giving you a fish doesn't help you at all. And I say this even in the 3-day. And when look, the 3-day gives you and when I say the 3-day, most I'll say gurus in parentheses, because I don't really consider myself a guru. I've mastered this, but I don't want to really be called a guru. You take a 3-day, and once you've attended the 3-day, you have the basics, and we help you until closure of a deal, period, using none of your own money. And that's what Gabriel and Frank help you with. So if you want to learn something, I have to teach you this in a 3-day environment where we really go through step by step. It's interactive. You can ask me questions, but that's the beginning of the journey. That's when the classes begin, not when they end. Most take a 3-day and then it's over, right? You've paid and then you're on your own. See you later. Love you, not long time. We do it differently, where we have small batch of classes, about 24, 25 people. We teach you, you get the 3-day, you get the basics, and we actually help you with marketing, on negotiation, the whole concepts, have a whole back end to really help you and support you with exams and drills, and multiple videos to really make sure you understand each and every step. And we don't stop supporting you until you've completed a transaction, period. And for less than $2,000, very difficult for you to beat that deal. And you're even pulling $3,000 out of closing. So, and if someone doesn't want to start with that and invest at least the small amount of time and effort it takes to get the basics and to actually be ahead in that, then we really probably don't need to work together ever, because this is less than you guys paid. I think you guys paid $3,500 US, which is 5,000 Canadian at the time, I remember. And this is 6, 7, 8 years ago. So they paid triple what I'm doing it for now. And the processes I have now are not even close to what they are. Back then it was not even close to what it is now. Now it's much more elegant, much more robust. It's much, much better, more processes, way better. So anywho, if you're not willing to put in the time and the effort, then why should the person you're asking to help you put in the time and the effort? We spent a long time. I've been at this for 22 years now. It's my 22nd year. And 22 years, do I want to work with someone that's going to say, I want you to help me. I want you to help me. No, I'm not going to watch a video. No, I'm not even going to take a basic 3-day. No, I'm not going to put in cleats. No, I don't want to do wax on, wax off. I want to do it my way. Well, if you want to do it your way, then don't work with me. And if you were really good at something, would you want someone sucking your time? Absolutely not. And I'm sure that you understand that. And again, we're not trying to be assholes or perceived as people that don't want to help people. And if you're not willing to invest a little bit of time, money, and energy into doing something, you're probably going to quit later when it gets hard, because it does get difficult. It does. And there are certain things you have to learn, and everyone has a different learning curve. What Gabriel mastered quickly, Frank might have taken a lot of time in. What Frank got really quickly, Gabriel's still struggling to figure out. So it's everyone has a different learning process and struggles with different things. And I'm still working on myself constantly and processes myself constantly to be a better human, to be a better investor, to be a better person, to be a better mentor, to be a better friend. Always trying to improve myself, because I always have room for improvement. That's just how life is. And if you get your ego out of the way, if you are just humble, coachable, and know that this isn't about you, it's about how we can help and serve as many humans as possible. And by doing that, by really knowing what you're doing and being able to serve more people, you will start making a tremendous amount of money. And we're going to leave you at that. Hopefully this was a fantastic episode for you. Share it, love it, comment on it. And I look forward to seeing you on the very next episode. Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate you very much. And we'll see you on the next one.
If you like this episode of Big Fat Real Estate Checks, then show some love by leaving a comment and a good rating. Also, as a thank you for tuning in today, we've got a special free gift. The journey to passive cash flow for a life starts by finding deals, and it's easier than you think. Simply go to getdealsbytuesday.com, enter your email address, and we'll send you a free quick start course called Deals by Tuesday. Even if it's 11 p.m. Monday night, this course will show you how to find discounted real estate deals by Tuesday. It's that fast and simple. Go to getdealsbytuesday.com and start your journey toward life-changing cash flow today. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next episode.